Nicole said, Nicole said, bolt upright, and clutched the blanket to her chest. The moon had gone behind a cloud. Her room was dark, Greek. Then she heard a voice. It spoke her name. Nicole, are you awake? It was Cassie. You jerk, Nicole hissed. You scared me half to death. Why didn't you say something? I just did, Cassie said, and I'm going to tell Mom you called me a jerk. I did. What are you doing here? I got scared, Cassie said. I thought I heard something in my room. That was me, you bonehead. What were you doing in my room? Cassie asked. I got scared too, Nicole said. The house is weird. Too many noises. Now, get in bed with me. And don't tell Mom I called you a bonehead. Sorry, cross my heart and hope to die. If you tell, I'll make you cry. Cassie climbed into the bed, cuddled together. The two sisters slept peacefully the rest of the night. The old house didn't seem so spooky the next morning. The day was bright. A shaft of sunlight poured into the center of the clearing. It was December. Despite the sunlight, the air was cold, and it was even colder inside the house than it was outside. Dad was clanking around in the basement trying to find the heat. He said the house was a fixer-upper. To Nicole, that meant it was a broken downer. She longed for the white countertops and working faucets and drinkable water of the house they left behind. No way was she going to brush her teeth with the rust, and she longed too for the heat that actually worked. The house had been unoccupied for a while, Dad said, but he claimed it was a fascinating past. Some interesting people had lived in it, for before the Civil War onward, he said. You're going to love it, Nicole, he said. You know how much you like history. Dad, Nicole replied, I like history in books. I prefer not to live in it. Cassie announced she was going outside to explore. Nicole wasn't much of an explorer, but she went outside too. In the morning light, she could see that the grey paint was peeling off the sides of the old house. The porch was missing some boards. The roof was missing some shingles. The house gave Nicole a spooky feeling. She shivered and wrapped her arms around herself to keep warm. Cassie said she was going to explore down the road a little. Keep walking for about 3 days, Nicole said. You might get to a neighbor's house. Nicole went back inside for the first time. She began to really look around the house. The day before, she's been too busy hauling her suitcase up to her room, unpacking and changing in the closet. Her mother always insisted that Nicole unpack right away, as if there was some incredible urgency. As if they weren't going to live in this creepy old house for the rest of their lives. Which, by the way, were ruined, all because of father's stupid job. A layer of dust covered up everything in the house, the floors, the countertops, even the toilet seats. As Nicole walked through the house, she left behind clean footprints on the dusty wooden floors. The kitchen was sunny enough. A wood stove was connected to the chimney by a black pipe. Nicole's mother was scrubbing out the sinks, which had been full of spiderwebs. She didn't look as happy as she had the day before. She was scrubbing madly and looked very red in the face. Nicole wanted to tell her mother that it sounded as if there were mice on the ceiling, but she took one look at her mother's face and decided now was not the time. She went out the back door of the kitchen and found herself in an enormous study. The room was very dark. Thick velvet red curtains shaded the windows, blocking out the light. A huge dark mahogany desk dominated the room. The walls were lined with bookshelves, also made of dark wood. They stretched from floor to ceiling. A ladder leaned against them to allow someone to reach books that would otherwise be too high. And every shelf was filled with books. There were hundreds of them, maybe thousands. Nicole's heart beat a little faster. Maybe this wouldn't be such a bad place to live. After all, she loved books. Let her little sister skip off down the road on her grand adventures. Nicole preferred to sit inside and read. That was her kind of adventure. Exciting, yet safe. She moved closer to examine the books. Most were bound. Where was I? Oh, she moved closer to the books. Most were bound in leather, with gold lettering. Here and there, strands of copper clung to the corners. Nicole brushed them off, then away. She read some of the titles. They were novels by famous writers. Charles Dickens and George Eliot and Mark Twain. Whatever. Many others were by people whose names she did not recognize. She moved to the other shelf and found books about the ancient Greeks and Romans. Nearby were atlases with maps of all the parts of the world. Nicole's eyes moved upward above her head. She saw a row of books about the Civil War. Now, that interested her. She had read about Harriet Tubman, an escaped slave who helped other slaves flee to the north, and her father had told her that they had an ancestor who had fought for the Union. She had been captured by the Confederates and taken to prison camp in Andersonville, Georgia, where he died. Nicole moved the ladder and climbed up to the Civil War shelf. She reads the book called Great Battles in the War Between the States. It wouldn't come off the shelf. It was stuck fast. Boy, Nicole thought, this book had been here for a long time. She grabbed it and tugged harder. The book still would not come loose. Nicole pulled a little harder, but carefully too. She didn't want the book to jerk loose and all of a sudden sending her sprawling backwards off the ladder. Slowly the book started to come out, but then, with a start, Nicole realized that it wasn't just the book that was coming loose, it was the whole section of the bookcase. Carefully, slowly the book realized it was the bookcase coming loose. It was a whole section of the bookcase, not to mention a whole section of the wall. She kept pulling slowly with an awful creaking noise. The top half of the bookshelf swung away. Behind it, Nicole saw a tunnel. It was dark as night in there, and it smelled of mildew. Where it led, Nicole had no idea, but she was not about to find out. She thought she heard coming from the tunnel the faint sound of scuffling feet. Those mice again, probably, she thought, but just for a moment she could have sworn she had heard a sound of voices. The sound muffled as it coming from under the blanket or inside a box. She swung the bookcase back into place as fast as she could. When it was closed, she leaned against it, panting with fear, her heart beating in her throat. Get to grip, she told herself. Mice don't talk. Therefore, there had not been any voices. They could not have been. It was just her imagination. But as she leaned there, catching her breath with her head pressed against the bookshelf, her heart almost stopped. There were they again, relaxed and just chilling out on the bed or sitting back on a chair or a couch, whatever you want. But yeah, like and subscribe, and yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and leave a comment, tell me what do you think the book is gonna be about for the rest of the, I think there was another 18 chapters, so yeah, there's a long way to go. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed.